The following video is a presentation by a recovering restaurateur with the aid of a hastily scrawled sheet of notes. No prep cooks or bussers were harmed in the making of this video. Are you really sure you want to do this? Okay. So you want to open a restaurant. Here's how you do it in 10 minutes or less. First thing is go to Aristotle. He had a system of questioning anything that journalists use to this day. It's 7 basic questions. It's your who, why, what, with, where, when, and how. First few, we're going to breeze through. The how, we're going to take a little bit more time with. Who? You. Why? God only knows. But if you come this far, stick with me. What? For these purposes, let's just say it's a casual eatery, sandwiches, pasta items, and salads, and a full bar thrown in. With, what are we going to do this with? We're going to do this with money, with crap loads of effort and time, and a good strategy. We'll get to that later. Where? Well, you want it to be within a half an hour of where you live. That's the easiest because you're going to be spending a lot of time there. When? For these purposes, again, 6 months to a year, because you want to make sure that you give yourself enough time to put together that strategy, collect ideas, build a menu, get the capital necessary, all the things you need to do to get it started. But you don't want to waste too long. So 6 months to a year. So this way ideas don't start collecting dust and getting lost. How? Strategy, mentorship, and a pro forma. So you want to put together a business plan. You can look at model business plans online. It just helps you tell the story of what you're doing and how you want to do it. Mentorship, I always like to find someone that's smarter and better and more successful than I am in anything and follow what they do, and I will get better. If you can humble yourself that much, you're going to make it work. Pro forma. This is the fun part. But before we get into that, let me show you a few pictures. This is a much younger version of me opening my first restaurant. It was called Poochie's in the Valley. It was in the Akron Valley. And it was a lot of fun and a lot of work and a lot of planning. And you can see we got some pictures of the build out and some of the menu items, putting it all together. This was taking a place that was old and tired and rehabbing it and building it up and creating something great out of it and then selling it. It's kind of the same thing I do now with houses, but basically flipping a restaurant. Difference is it's on a much longer business plan. It's a much longer business cycle, I should say. So it's going to take longer. Anyway, getting back to the pro forma, let's take a look at that on paper. Now, this is an actual pro forma. This was from another restaurant that I did, not the first one, but it shows a revenue of $55,000 for the month, and that is after the taxes have been taken out because they get taken out along the way if you're doing things properly and if you have what most people have is a majority credit card operation. Now you take your cost of goods sold, and that is basically the cost of the stuff you're going to sell, right? So how much is your food cost? How much are your beverage costs? How much are the napkins and supplies? You put them all together, and those are your cost of goods sold. It's basically your beginning inventory, and then you add your purchases, and you subtract your ending inventory, and boom, there you got it. You have your cost of goods sold. And if you add that to the labor costs that you have, you're going to come up with what they call prime cost. Prime cost should be somewhere around, and your actual results may vary, but you want it to be somewhere between 60 and 65% of your total revenue. This way, you have another 30 to 35% to take care of all these other costs. including, and please don't forget, your taxes. That's right. And there are a lot of taxes. You have your ODJFS in the state of Ohio. That is your unemployment. You have your cat tax. You have all kinds of taxes here. So Bureau of Workers' Comp, make sure you take care of all of those. And they get all layered in as well. And at the end of the day, if you can show, like in this pro forma, I show a 12% profit, pat yourself on the back. You're doing a good job. You need to have a 10 to 12% profit. I would say at least 10% after you've paid your rent and all of your other costs. And you need to be able to do that on a consistent basis, because the greatest dreams in the world are just a wish unless you can pay for it. So the other thing is, and I'm going to give you a couple of books to read, things to look at. And they're short books, because I don't like long, thick, boring books with tiny type. I like to get in and get out and understand what I need to understand and get on with what I need to accomplish. But all the great restaurants, all the great places you go to, from McDonald's up to the highest end, they all do one thing really, really well. McDonald's, it's burgers. Some places it's their service. Some places it's a drink or an appetizer. But there's something that they do that drives traffic. The one thing that we did really well in both of my restaurants was this. That's right. It's a sugo ceplicha, which is a red sauce. Now, this red sauce, we put it on everything we could. And it really helped make our items really attractive, especially just the pasta. We poured that on. We sold more of that than anything else. So do one thing really well. Put together that strategy in your pro forma. Don't ignore the numbers. And a couple of books that I would recommend are The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber and Raving Fans by Kim Blanchard. That's the 1 Minute Manager guy. And Sheldon Bowles. Anyways, these are two great books to help fuel the fire, get you going with it. Because one, they'll tell you whether you're a technician or a manager or an entrepreneur, and it's hard to be all three. So a lot of people say, I'm a great cook, I want to open a restaurant. This may dissuade you from that and may save you a lot of heartache and money. But then the other one is, don't try to be everything to everyone. That's the Raving Fans message. So I would look at those. And if you're looking at cost, a great website I saw online was academy.getbackbar.com. Backbar is an inventory cost measuring software that I've never used, but they have some really useful tips and they get right to the point, like I hope this video did. So if you have any questions, comments, anything else, please include those down below. And don't forget to subscribe. This has been the intro to opening your own restaurant within 10 minutes, hopefully. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.